Welcome, and welcome to the Heatcast with myself, Seán Ryan. Joined with me on the show today is one of the best artists from Kerry, I must say. It's the one and only JMAC. How you getting, man, my man?
It's good to see you, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. Doing well.
I ask this every time on the show, and you probably know what question I'm going to ask, but where the hell does JMAC come from? Like, as I was saying beforehand, like, was it from JMAC Solutions in Clarny? Like, not promoted on the show, obviously.
No, so I've seen a couple of the other Heatcasts, and I wish I had like a super cool answer here. I'm not affiliated with JMAC Solutions, but if they want to sponsor me, that's not a problem. But no, man, it was literally my initial. So my name is John Michael Andrew O'Connell, confirmation thing, and what you call it. So my initial spell JMAC, and since I was 13, people have been calling me JMAC. So when I started rapping, I thought maybe John Michael was a bit of a funny name to start with, so for rapping. So I said, yeah, let's go with JMAC.
Yes, right to the point, a direct story, and it's perfect name for you. Like, why did you choose rap music to kind of express yourself and stuff like that?
So I grew up on lots of different music. My mother started me off on 80s love ballads. My father listened to Johnny Cash and Frank Sinatra and that kind of crack. And when I was a youth, when I was about 13, 14, I used to listen to rock music and heavy metal. It was actually Eminem, as probably a lot of people. I was introduced to one of his songs and I was like, this is so different. Now, I suppose the reason I got into rap then after that, and I chose it as the genre, is because for me, it's the most intricate one. It has the most intricacies. Like, I suppose a lot of the older generation might think it's just talking very fast, but the logistics behind rap, it's easier for me to make a song where you're matching 4 syllables and then changing the chord and doing another 4. But to stack a full verse, when I heard Eminem doing it and Joyner Lucas doing it and Logic, when I heard all of them guys doing stuff like that, it fascinated me and I wanted to see could I do it. And I suppose not only that, man, but it's where real expression comes out, because in general songs you hear a generic line about heartbreak or something like, or drug abuse or whatever, whereas in rap, somebody will tell you the specific time, place, and everything of when somebody close to them died. So it just feels more personal to me.
Yeah, and like I can definitely understand with like Eminem, I'm kind of resonating with yourself because there is kind of some similarities in the way you drop your lyrics and stuff like that. But like obviously your lyrics are very like, very positive message towards them. And like my question really is like, do you believe that like beef is good between artists? Like, because obviously in the 1970s and stuff like that, when hip hop kicked off, like beef was a main factor of it. Like it was just good. It was, the heart and soul of the scene really. And it's not really being shown as much, but do you think it's like a very important part of the rap scene?
Yeah, 100%. I'll compare it to MMA. It's like MMA. Going out and fighting each other on the street for no reason is stupid. It's dumb. There's no point. But standing in front of another man as a competitor and he has an arsenal of skills versus you, he thinks he can beat you with his skills and I think I can beat you with mine. I think that type of rap is good. I think those type of diss tracks are solid. Like, if you don't believe that you're the best MC or you don't believe that you've got the best bars, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. So for me personally, I'd have no problem barring anybody. Like, if somebody wants to send a verse for me, I'll send one back the next day. And it's not about beef, it's more about the competitive streak. Now, don't get me wrong, if someone violates, I will probably drop a diss track on them. Like I always say, man, I'm 90% love and positivity, but there is that 10% in all of us. So if someone steps on my toes, I will respond and everything. But for the most part, I think it's just healthy to have no bars held, competitive, let's see what we can come up with. Like, if somebody spits a sick bar to me and really violates me and it's a competitive thing, I'll actually laugh and I'll start applauding them because I'm like, that was a sick bar. I love the art so much and I love the craft that I commemorate them for doing it. It's like if you get in an MMA fight and you get knocked out, you're not mad, you appreciate the fact that he caught you slipping. So that's the way. The reason I wrote the song was just to invoke some emotion out of people and let them know that, like, because a lot of people were saying, why don't we help the Irish first? Why don't we help the... And I was kind of saying, look, lads, what about if the Americans said that when we tried to go to Ellis Island? If they just said, actually, sorry, no, we're too busy working on our own. Your own economy is always going to need help. But these people are literally dying, literally dying. If it means Joe down the road can't have his 8 cans this weekend and his pack of fags, then I'm happy with that. I don't care if he's Irish or he's not, like, I don't identify like that. I love Ireland. I got mad respect for Ireland and everything, but I'm not going to begrudge somebody because their skin color is different or anything like that. So for me, it was a case of educating people on what's happening and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I feel like music is a great way to do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you got a lot of publicity from that track. You had an article in the paper. I'm not too sure which paper. You could probably brief me on that. But it was impressive. It was impressive to see your face, a part of the rap scene and stuff like that, being on a newspaper. Like, it's a big step up. Like you've your sound is very unique, I must say, and like you do kind of express yourself in your own voice and stuff like that. And I think, like, what do you think of like people rapping in different styles, maybe sound a bit more UK or a bit more American-esque? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Look, I mean, I've even had it said to me before. I've had said, "Why do you rap in an American accent?" And I was kind of thinking in my head, I don't think I do. But then here's what it is, man: is that singing, rapping, and like whatever, and talking are different. Your accent doesn't come out as much when you're singing or rapping. But yeah, man, I lived in Birmingham for 5 years. Do you know what I mean? So like I might jump on a drill tune or a grime track, and I'll say family. I'll use a lot of the lingo that they use. But I think you should be. I don't force anything. Like I don't force things. Like whatever's in my vocabulary, I use that, and especially if it helps a rhyme scheme. But I'm not going to go out of my way to sound like someone else, because I don't excuse the language, but I don't fuck with that. Like, I think if you're gonna rap like next man, you don't really know who you are. You know what I mean? You're not really being introspective. You're trying to bite someone else's flow, and that's dead. Like in the 70s and 80s, man, if you stole somebody's flow, you'd probably get killed. Whereas now, people are doing it all willy-nilly, like, people are just copying each other's flows, and a guy from I don't know, Dublin is trying to sound like man from London, and I know that's not your accent, so why are you trying to lie to me? Like, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, and like you have an album coming out quite soon, in the next couple of days, and like, tell me a bit about this album. What's it about? Why you got into making this album? Because you've been fairly progressive in terms of, you've only started six odd months ago, and you've made a huge impact on your own reputation as well as the scene as well. Like,
oh, I appreciate that, man. So I'll tell you as much as I can, because this Issues album is actually part of a 3-album project. So I've got my next 3 years of music planned. I've already gotten about half the songs written and a couple recorded off the second album, and I can't say what it is, but once the 3rd album drops, people will be like, that's what he was doing. But for the Issues album that's coming out now in a couple of days, I guess the best way I can explain it is that it is exactly what it says on the tin. It's an album about issues. Now, obviously, I speak about my own personal issues when it comes to mental health, when it comes to anxiety, when it comes to self-harming, all that kind of dark stuff, and then I talk about a couple of other struggles that I've witnessed throughout my life, like domestic violence and just other stuff like that, and insecurity in men and women and stuff. And then when you're listening to the album, you kind of need to start from the first tune, and every tune I've put on there is purposely placed where it is, because it tells a story. It tells a part of a story. So once you get from the first tune to the last tune, and if you listen through the entirety, you'll be like, I get what he did here. And then by the time the second and third one drops, it's part of an even bigger picture. That's all I can kind of really say.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm looking forward to hearing this first album drop, and then listening to the second one and listening to the third one, because you're a very talented man, and like, obviously there's a big plan that you've had in your head to make this project. And even the artwork. Did you design the artwork yourself, or did you get someone to draw that, or what way did you get that done?
So I'm delighted you asked that. when it comes to anything, I always support my friends first, people that I just happen to know. I'll always support local. I'll always support my friends. So the artwork that I have just here, you'll probably show it anyway, but that's the original copy. I approached one of my friends. It's hanging awkwardly now, but sure, look. I approached one of my friends. Her name is Simran. She's a good friend of mine. She's from the UK, but she's in Australia at the moment. And I just sent her a quick message and I said, look, here's my idea for the artwork, and she smashed it, man. She pretty much sent me that back straight away, and I was just so impressed with it that I was like, yo, yeah, definitely. So she'll be doing the artwork as well for the next two, because this image ties in with the plan for the next two albums as well.
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask, like, is it going to be, that going to tell a story as well? Like, I think, even that whole concept is just great, that everything is going to link together. And I can't wait to kind of go on that journey and, see that story, or even hear that story from you. Like, and it's great to see that you're like working with local and stuff like that. It's like, obviously I'm going to ask, like, who did you make the beats yourself for this album, or did you outsource it? I'm guessing you're going to say it's probably local, but I want to hear your answer.
No, man. I wish. So basically, I would, and anyone watching, I'd encourage you, work with what you have. So work with what you can. So I'm in a position now where I've got a microphone in my bedroom, and I've got my brother on his laptop, and he can mix and master, and he learned to do it on the same journey as I learned to rap. The one thing that I struggle with, and this is to every beat maker out there, is that I didn't have a source for beats. I have had no source for beats. So what I do is that I know what emotion I want in a song and the general narrative of it. So what I'll do is I'll go onto YouTube and I'll search, and then I'll find 5 or 6 different beats. I'll listen to them all, and then before I even start writing words, I'll start going da 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 da. Sometimes a hook will land in my head, and then I'll go, that's the beat. And then what I'll do is I'll obviously buy the required licenses and stuff like that. And I know there are people out there who's like, oh, he's a YouTube rapper or blah, blah, blah. But look, I'm working with what I can work with. I am currently looking into producing my own beats. We've downloaded Fruit Loops and we're looking into it. But on top of the charity work and on top of the writing and on top of the conceptualizing for everything, it's just another string to my bow that I am going to be adding eventually. But for now, I have to use YouTube beats because that's all that's available to me. Now, I have used a couple of other beats that people have sent me. If any beat maker out there is watching this, send me a beat, give me 2 days and I'll have a song written. So, and we can work together. I think some people take the piss with obviously what they're looking for, but if there's anybody who's reasonable out there, like Vex Got Beats, shout out to him, man. He made me a sick beat. I asked him for a beat and he delivered really, really well. I can't tell you what the project is going to be because that's going to be a big project too. But he really delivered on that. And he was reasonable with prices and stuff as well. So if any of you, man, are on that, hit me up. I can spit over grime, dancehall. Give me any sort of beat, I'll spit over it.
And like, as I was saying, like that you've grown so quickly. Like, as I was saying, you're only been in the scene for about 6 months or, maybe a small bit longer. And you've made a big impact on who you are. Like, you have a huge plan all set out and stuff like that. But what would you say to someone who's just kicking off, like ready to get their first mic and start rapping? Like, what would be the first advice to say, okay, this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That would be my biggest thing. I waited until I was 26 or 25 to even start. I am kicking myself because if I had started like a lot of guys when I was 15 or 16, like if my progression has been what it's been in 6 months, and I'm, like might come across arrogant, but I'm very proud of myself, man. I work at this every day. Make sure if you're going to get into this, that your heart's in the right place too. Don't do it for clout. Don't do it for money. Don't do it for any other reason besides that you want to do it. And the main thing I would say as well is write all of the time. Like write for the waste basket. Even if you don't make that perfect song or if you don't make that perfect tune, write anyway. I've got bars that I've written that I thought were trash that later on they fitted into another concept that I was doing, and I can actually I can actually cross the bottom and go, oh, that works here. So my advice to anyone getting into it is believe in yourself. Obviously work on your craft every single day. If you need a day off, that's fine, but even watch Rap Battle. You're the gatekeeper of your mind every day. That's what I say. If it's like McDonald's, man, you eat McDonald's every day, you get fat. You watch reality TV and you listen to crap music, then you'll make crap music. If you listen to conscious rappers and people who have versatile flows, and you just start to learn as you go. So become a student of the game and work on your craft every day.
Yeah, and that's some seriously good advice, like for anyone who's listening and watching. How do you promote yourself as an artist? Like, obviously, as I was saying, like you were on the newspaper and stuff like that and made a big impact, and this, you know, this charity walk to Derry, like, is a big thing. You know, like how else do you kind of get yourself out there?
I would actually say that, and this is crazy, most of my engagement is from people that I've been good to in my life. Like, for example, a friend that I'd done a good deed for years ago without expecting anything in return, it's paying off now. Like, what I would actually say to people is gas people up. It doesn't cost you anything. Gas your friends up, gas strangers up, help people, offer your services where you can, and add value to other people's lives, because it comes back in tenfold. Like, don't go out and do something directly expecting to get something back, because that's not kindness, that's a business transaction. But like, if you just show love, you'll get shown love. It's as simple as that. You receive the energy that you get back. So my promotion just comes from me being a good guy as much as I can be. On top of that, obviously, it helps that I worked in sales and I've worked in marketing and stuff like that. So like Instagram mainly, I promote myself. A little bit on Facebook as well. Yeah, just pretty much Instagram, like just whatever social media people are fucking with at the time.
And like, what do you think is missing from the scene right now to kind of get it to that extra step up?
Versatility, number one. Like, the reason that the UK blew up the way it was is look at Kano, Skepta, JME, all of them. Like, all the guys who blew that scene up, Wiley, like, they all were different. They didn't do the same stuff as what the US was doing. Do you know what I mean? And now the UK scene is better than the US scene. So we need rappers to come out who aren't just talking about the same stuff, because there'll always be them rappers who are just talking about the same stuff, and they make good tunes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on anybody, but don't think just because you're different and you're rapping about different stuff that no one wants to hear it. You never know who you can help. Like, to the emo rappers, to the whatever kind of mental health rappers, people need that stuff and they will mess with it. And they will, they will vibe to it. The other thing as well is stuff like what you're doing, man. Like, shout out to you, man. I got to gas you up on your own show, because it's stuff like this where you're not blocking anybody, you're not stopping anybody. You're the versatility, the platform is what we need. We need some version of fire in the boot for Irish rappers, where a guy can come on and spit a 9-minute verse. We need radio, we need a station, and we just need the exposure, because the bars are there, the talent is there, and the beats are there. All we need is that exposure. Give it 5 years and we'll blow.
Yeah, and like, obviously you have this album dropping quite soon. But what's your kind of aim as an artist for 21? What else do you want to get done? Is it collaborating with different artists? Is it maybe, doing some different work, or what is the aim?
So I have about 4 to 5 features in the pipeline. I've got a couple of guys from the UK I'm jumping on tracks with, who are extremely talented. Rammer, he's on my Instagram, and then Figure 9 as well. 2 very talented artists. They're going to blow at some stage. I'm doing a couple of features with them, and then I'm an open book, man. For me, it's not so much a plan. Like, I write a song nearly every day, and if I don't, I'll write it in 2 days. So I've got a pipeline of music. I've got a couple of R&B tunes waiting to drop, but I want to drop the album first and then move into the R&B world. I've got a couple of dancehall tunes or dancehall beats. Like, I just want to see, I want to push my limits to see how versatile I can get, how much I can improve. I'll be doing a freestyle Friday every Friday on my page. And yeah, man, I just want to grow as an artist and hone my craft. And then whatever happens, happens. In terms of dropping the second album, that'll probably happen end of 2021 or else start of 2022. And it's all to do with finances. But other than that, if any Irish artist wants to work, send me a beat, send me your verse, and I'll get back to you in a couple of days.
Yeah, like, you're very open to do stuff, and like, it's a great attitude to have in the scene. I have a question here from Instagram and stuff like that who've commented. Who would you like to collaborate in the future?
So talking the Irish scene, I suppose, yeah.
It was general enough, so it could be the US or the UK scene even.
I mean, top of the list would be a tune with K Coke, just because I just rate K Coke so much, man. Like I got so much love for Coke. Like I love other artists in the UK, like Mike Righteous. H is doing his thing. He's a bad man. Who else? English Frank, all them boys. But I just think flow wise and I think cadence wise, and I just think what we'd do together, I think I could definitely do something interesting with K Coke. Moving past that, talking about Irish artists and everything, I want to show some love to like Joyce, who you had on a couple of days or a couple of weeks ago. I can see that she's going to be doing her thing. Jay Skinny, who dropped Business, I'd like to work with him at some point. Potentially work with Conway as well. You know, he dropped that hotbox and everything. I thought he was pretty sick. So yeah, man, I'm kind of down to work with anybody, really.
Yeah, as I was saying, like I'm delighted to hear that you're so open and making the scene a better place. Like you have that drive. Is there anything else that you want to plug before we kind of wrap up the show?
I suppose just lads, pay attention. Just honestly, like you I know rappers say it all the time, but you're not ready. Like honestly, like the kind of progression and the kind of the effort that I'm putting into this is going to resonate in all of the tracks. Like if you've heard one of my tunes before and it wasn't for you, please listen to the rest of them, because I never try and make the same tune twice. Do you know what I mean? I have got so much stuff to talk about that just pay attention to my Instagram. That's where I post the updates and stuff. So follow me. Issues album will be available on all platforms, iTunes, Spotify. You can pre-save the link on Spotify now. That link is in my bio in the description. So make sure you pre-save the album. Yeah, and just look out for the name JMAC, man, because I'm not stopping. Do you know what I mean? I have no intention of stopping, and I'm coming for the game.
Yeah, man, you definitely have the attitude for it. So we're going to wrap it up here in the Heat Zone. For everyone watching on YouTube and everyone listening on our Spotify, make sure to follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you in the next one.
The flow is dripping in substance, they can love it or hate it, as long as it's authentic. Yellow life in times of Dan Carter, the boss with it. Put it on repeat, kick up your feet and get lost in it. Now the people gone cold, so we just flick through our phones, looking for glitz on the gram. Forget the people at home, whether I spit from a script or spit it straight off the dome. You already know, JMAC got the coldest of flows. So grab a seat, sit down and get out your tissues, and welcome to the place I like to talk about my issues. I must admit it's quite nice for me to do this with you, so listen to the stories about me and what my demons been